All right, so welcome to lesson 2.1.3, determining slopes of perpendicular lines. Let's start off with the vocabulary. So the slope of a perpendicular lines are opposite reciprocals of each other. So that means, in parentheses, I'm going to put product is -1. So if you were to multiply them together, you would get -1. Let me give you an example of a pair of opposite reciprocal slopes. If you have two lines and the first line's slope was 3/2, here's what opposite reciprocal means. First, make it opposite. This is a positive number. The opposite of a positive is a negative number. Then you do a reciprocal. A reciprocal just means you flip the fraction. So instead of 3/2, now you have 2/3. So they are opposite reciprocals because one is positive, one is negative. That's the opposite. They are reciprocals because they are flipped. So these two would be opposite reciprocals. These two would be examples of perpendicular slopes. Let's try another example. So if we have -5, what is the opposite reciprocal of this? So first, we have the opposite. So let's see. -5 is a negative number. We're going to do a positive. And then flip the fraction. You're thinking, Ms. J, this is not a fraction. This is a -5. It is a fraction. So -5 as a fraction would be -5/1. And so what you need to do is now flip the 5/1 into 1/5. So the opposite reciprocal of -5 is +1/5. So here are two examples of opposite reciprocals. All right, so that's how you would determine perpendicular slopes. We're going to put it into action later on, but for now, just know that these are the definitions. Here's some examples, write it down. Let's go to slopes of parallel lines. They are the same. It's as straightforward as that. So you're going to see what I mean in the next section where we do numbers 1 and 2. We're going to determine an equation for each parallel line described. What is the equation of a line parallel to y is equal to 4x plus 2 that passes through 3/5? So remember, slopes of parallel lines, according to our definition, they are the same. So let's focus in on the slope, which is 4. Okay, so we're going to write a new equation in the form y equals mx plus b, where m is your slope. Okay, and we're going to keep the slope the same. So y is equal to 4x plus b. We don't know what b is yet, but we do know that our slope should stay the same. Our slope should stay as 4. So I wrote y is equal to mx plus b, where the m is 4, because the slope is the same. And we want it to pass through 3/5. So here's our x, here's our y. So x is 3, y is 5. We're going to plug that into our equation. So where it says y equals, I'm going to write 5 equals 4. And then where it says x, I'm going to write 3. And we're going to simplify this to solve for b. And so we get -7 is equal to b. Now we know what b is. We're not done. We need to take that b value and plug it right back into here. So I'm going to rewrite that. But instead of plus b, we now know what b is. B is -7. So our equation of the parallel line that passes through the given point is right here. This boxed answer is our parallel line equation. So I'm going to give you guys a chance to pause the video and try number 2 on your own. So if you have a question, make sure you ask. And if you try it and you get it wrong, that's okay. Just fix the mistake, and then if you still don't get it, just ask, okay? All right, now that we are unpaused, we're going to double check your answer for number 2. So number 2 says, what is the equation of a line parallel to y is equal to 3/2 x minus 7 that passes through the point 6, -2? So we're going to keep the slope the same because we have a parallel line. I'm going to highlight that. The 3/2 stays as 3/2, okay? And then we're going to plug in this point. Here's your x, here's your y. Simplify. When you multiply with a fraction, you can just multiply across the top. You get 18, which is 6 times 3. That gives us 18. Keep it over 2, though. All right, now solving for b. We got -11. We're not done yet. We must plug it back into our first equation, and I'm going to write the answer over here where I have space. And then instead of plus b, we have -11 because our b was -11. So this boxed answer, this is the equation of a line parallel and passing through that point. Remember, if you have a question, please ask.